Hello and welcome to DPN TV here at the DPN Car Collection. As always, thank you very much for joining us. It's great to have you choosing this video. So today we're going to do a little video on how to use this Blaupunkt radio fitted to this Rover 45 1.8 connoisseur. This is the original radio that was fitted in this car. Now, interestingly enough, when we got the car, it did have an aftermarket radio in it. But luckily enough, the CD changer, the original one, was still in the boot. We had a little search on eBay and found this company that basically did reconditioned radios. Quite what they did, I assume that means they definitely checked they were working, repaired them if they didn't work, and cleaned them. And with a little bit of research, I found this is the radio that went in this car. One, from the handbook, and secondly, because of the CD changer lined up with this radio, we were pretty sure it went in. Now, lucky enough, when we removed the aftermarket radio, the wire for the CD changer was there and undamaged or cut away, and so were the original plugs. They'd put an adapter on so the original plugs would work on the aftermarket radio, and the lead for the CD changer was there, and the special little plug that allowed it to plug in the back of the radio had also been left on that wire. So we were very, very lucky, and we always like to try and have the original radio. One, it's just nice to have, it often looks right, and also they often have a good sound. Now, I can always understand if you get a car and the radio isn't working, that original one, then you're going to want some sort of radio, so you'll put an aftermarket one in. But I'd always say if the original one's in, certainly try not to remove it, because it is nice to have. And like we did, we even looked online and managed to find an original radio. So you may have noticed that when the radio came on, it displayed Rover, and then the station comes on. Well, if the radio's been removed, or you've done some work on the car or changed the battery, basically if the electrics have been disconnected, then the radio is going to need the code entered into it. So I thought I'd cover that first, how to enter the security code in. Now, that should be with the car. Obviously, as they get older, that's less and less likely. Now, we've been lucky with all our cars. The radio code has been with the car, either written in the handbook or on the original little Rover card, that is. This radio we bought, as we say, as a reconditioned one, and they provided the code with it. Now, there is some sites and also some eBay sellers that say if you give them the serial number, they can let you know the code of the radio. So it should be fairly straightforward, even if you haven't got the code for that radio, to get one. We've never tried this service, but I assume they're fairly reliable, and I assume they must work because they've been on eBay a while, and I would have thought if there was a problem, they'd eventually get removed. So I can only assume that that works. Obviously, the best thing is to have the code with the radio if possible. So if you are buying a car, although it's probably not high on the list, do try and make sure that the previous owner does give you that code. If they've cleared out their glove box, see if they've got the code or the information to give you. So what will happen is, as I say, when you switch it on, instead of the station coming on, it will have 4 zeros coming up in this window here, and the way you enter your 4-digit code is you use the station button numbers. So if your first code was, or your first number, that code was 5, you'd actually push button 1 5 times, and you'll see the numbers count up to it says 5. And then button 2, if it was 3, you'd push button 2 3 times. Button 4, if your code was 6, then you'd have to push button 3 6 times, and you'll see those numbers appearing in the windows. And then you do the same with button 4, and then what you do is push the up arrow on this circular set of controls to enter that code. Once it's saved, unless you disconnect the battery or remove the radio, that code gets remembered. And the good thing with all the Rover radios we've got in our selection of cars is they remember all the settings and stations. Now, one of the things we found is with all the aftermarket radios we've bought over the years, once you disconnect the power or remove the radio, you lose all your settings and station memories. Whereas with the coded Rover radios, if you put the code back in, all your settings and stations are remembered. I've got the handbook here, so if I hold this up in front of the camera, let it focus, there are the instructions for entering the code into the radio. So as well as following me, you can always pause the screen and use that information there as well. And hopefully you've got the handbook from the car as well, but just in case you haven't, that's how you enter on this radio. Now, actually, most of the radios put in the Rover cars are very similar to that. Normally it varies the button that you push to enter the code or the way you enter that code, but they're normally very, very similar. So as you say, this is the cassette radio with the CD changer in the boot. So if we go through with the radio side first, you've got an on and off button there, the red one. That's fairly straightforward. You've got your volume here, that just rotates. As you can see, the volume goes up and down in the window. You've also got your volume controls on your steering wheel with this radio as well. These are your station presets. So basically, if you find a station you want, what you do is you push and hold the button. You'll hear a little beep, the frequency comes out, and that station is now programmed in to button 6. This button is the button to release the fascia on your radio. Basically, a bit like aftermarket radios, you can push this little button and the fascia comes off, and you can take that with you. We've got the little box that the fascia comes in, that come when we got this radio, and hopefully it'll still be in your car as well. And just to show you how the fascia removes, you push this little button there, as I said, and the fascia basically comes right away. And if you're lucky, then, as I say, you've got the actual little box that the fascia goes in, and the fascia basically just sits in the little box, and you clip it up, and that lets you take it away when you leave the vehicle unattended. These buttons here, that's your band. There's a series of bands, like an FM1, FM2, FM3, long wave and medium wave. So you just keep pushing that, and eventually you'll get back to the band you was on. You can program up to 6 stations on each of those bands. This is your RDS button. So that's basically, you get the station name up, and if you turn it off, then you'll get basically just the frequency, and also you can ask it to do traffic announcements as well. So local stations, if they're doing a traffic report, are cutting over the CD, I think the tape. I've never had a tape playing when they've cut in, and certainly they do with the radio as well. Along here, basically, if we now move on to some of the menus and setting the radio up, you've got the audio button here, and if you push that, you'll see it comes up with bass first of all. And if you use the arrows, the side to side arrows, you can select different audio settings, so like your treble, your balance between the speakers, your front to rear balance, and back to the bass. If you push the X bass, it's almost like a quick link to up the bass in the settings. That's basically what that does. And if we go back to here, if you wanted to up, for instance, the bass, then you use the up and down arrows to make the bass go up and down. And if you go on the side arrows, you then go to the treble, then it's the up and down to alter your settings, basically. For a little bit more of an advanced setting on this radio, you can go into the menu, and once again, the up and down arrows in this case move you through the settings. And then if you push the side arrows up and down, you can then alter some of the settings within it. So there you're alternate between a 12-hour clock and a 24-hour clock. Then if we keep going through the menu, basically, as you can see there, that if you leave it too long, the radio goes out of that menu back to the default screen. So you push the menu button again, and it's just a case of scrolling through what you want to do. So there, I left it too long and ended up altering your stations. So if we go back there, and then you can go through and alter lots of different things that are in the menu. Really, that's a case of sort of flicking through and going into those a little bit more and finding what sort of helps you. You've got a clock. Again, we don't really see the point of the clock because you've got your clock up here, but you can set a clock on that, so when the radio's off, it will just display a clock. You can have your beeps on or off. So yeah, there's lots of little bits there that you can alter, and I think really it's a case of going through there and basically just sort of altering your settings as you would like. You may notice that if I turn it up there, those little lines appear here, and that's something you can do in that menu, is set that so that as the music plays, the little lines go up and down, almost like the old-fashioned voice meter. If you want to play a cassette, basically by putting the cassette in, we'll turn it over to the cassette. And if you want to play a CD, you push this button here, and it will automatically activate the CD player in your boot and start playing it. I've got the volume turned down because of sort of copyright claims on the video, and also in the future we don't want any problems with playing certain songs. As you can see there, it's playing through the CD, and you can skip the tracks, make it repeat. So these sort of buttons become different selections within the CD player. We've only got one CD in there, but you can basically jump tracks or jump all the discs by using those buttons along there. So if I push that button again, it'll stop the CD changer in the boot and bring you straight back to the radio station you're on. And this is the CD changer in the boot. To get your CDs out, all you do is slide that back. There's a little button there you push. You'll hear it retract, and the little cartridge ejects out like that. And if I just put that down there, you can then pull out all the CDs you've got in the change. They sit in little plastic racks, and there is that CD in its rack. You can remove it and then just put it back in. Also, these buttons are a bit of a multifunctional button. So if we come back to the radio, if you push that up button, it'll basically do your sort of fast scan, well, automatic scan to find the strongest station that's after the one you're on. If you push these buttons side to side, what it's doing is going through your preset programs, like your 1 to 1 to 6 programs within that that band. So yeah, hopefully that's a basic little introduction into this radio, and hopefully it's of use to you. As always, as we say, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you do like this video, why not check out the rest of the videos on this channel. And as always, thank you very much for watching.